Like, you know, you always joke around, but there is a scenario where you could get Tyler Lockett as your third wide receiver.
BRB Blazers.
Yeah, so we got Tyler Lockett. We'll start out with him first. Finishes wide receiver 13 PPR, wide receiver 14 half point. I mean, Tyler Lockett just seems to be like his go-to guy. I mean, their connection and completion percentage is like crazy. It's through the roof. I feel like he's kind of falling maybe with the emergence of DK. I mean, I am pretty big on DK, but I mean, 110 targets for Tyler Lockett, 82 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. It just seems like he's, I don't know, maybe like Russell Wilson's safety blanket. So I'm kind of thinking like both these receivers are going to have a lot of good value here, but you might be able to get Lockett a round or two later after Metcalf, because I feel like I do like Metcalf, but I feel like he's going a little bit higher. I mean, Tyler Lockett, second most red zone targets at 23. He had the sixth most end zone targets. So like I said, he's just kind of a guy that, you know, Russell Wilson trusts in, I feel like. And the rapport and the completion percentage is really good between the two. So I like using Tyler Lockett.
I think people are kind of on the DK Metcalf side of he's going to be the one that's going to be the number one, but that's far from a guarantee. Yeah, there's the upside, but I mean, there was even years where it was like Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett, and people would be like, oh, like Tyler Lockett could overtake Doug Baldwin. It just didn't happen. Doug Baldwin was still the one when he was on the field. He was just still the one. So that could very easily be the case again, where it's just Tyler Lockett's the one while he's there. That's who Russell Wilson has he just leans to a little more. I'm not saying they both can't be useful, but depending on his draft price, he might be someone I definitely have some shares of, especially in standard, because he's a high touchdown type of guy. 8, 10. I'm gonna figure he's gonna probably get at least a solid 7 touchdowns if you're predicting Russell Wilson to throw 30 plus. So especially in standards, maybe 110, 120 targets doesn't lead to consistent PPR, but in a standard league, if I can get him in the 5th, 6th round, I have 2 running backs and or even 3 running backs, and I need a second receiver, I like him, because I think you're going to get him in the 4th, 5th round. And if they do throw more, to my point, it only helps his targets and his volume and his potential touchdown upside.
Yeah, he almost is like I don't want to say like a Galladay who doesn't need a lot of targets, but he's similar to it. I mean, he had 24 less catches than Lockett, but only 157 less yards. So, I mean,
DK Metcalf,
yeah. He had 58 for 900, 15.5 yards per reception, which is great. 7 touchdowns. So I think depending on your league, DK he might be higher than Lockett in standard, because you're not accounting for yards or catches. But I mean, 900 yards and 7 touchdowns. It's pretty close. Everyone knows Russell Wilson throws the best deep ball. I mean, in football, that's why they got him. So
sexy.
Yeah, I think DK will get up to 70 catches. Like Anthony said, I mean, I think 7 touchdowns might be his floor. If Russell Wilson throws for 30, DK is going to get at least 8. And I mean, they have another year to work together. I mean, another year in the offense. I think he surprised a lot of people. I mean, 900 yards, 58 catches, that's solid. And the other thing about it is he lines up outside, like I want to say like 87% of the time. Like DK doesn't go anywhere other than the outside, to where Lockett, you can move him in the slot so you can disguise and move him around, do different matchups. So I think like Anthony said, they're both going to be good. But that upside for DK is what I like, as far as, I mean, 15 yards yak is good. But Lockett can also get you 12 catches in a game, because I faced him when he did it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like a 1A, 1B scenario where, I mean, like I said, 110 targets for Tyler Lockett, 100 for Metcalf. I mean, if Metcalf can turn those 100 targets into more than 58 receptions, let's say, like you said, he pushes like 70, 75. I mean, yeah, he's going to go over 1,000 yards, and, the floor of 7 touchdowns that's the floor, like you said. And his 17 end zone targets, DK Metcalf, that actually led the entire NFL. So Russell Wilson's looking for him in the end zone. I mean, you like seeing that. So, I mean, could he push 10, 12 touchdowns? I mean, it's not unrealistic.
And
either,
Russell likes it.
Either guy could, realistically. They both could push on 10 touchdowns, honestly. Yeah. I think they're both pretty relatively I've been doing a lot of floor and ceiling, so people, understand like where they can finish on the low side and high side. Both of them have top 12 in their cards. They could both of them could finish on top 12 just based off the touchdown alone. And then I'd say their floor is even probably worst case scenario top 30 wide receivers. That's worst case scenario. They're both going to probably finish inside the top 12 to 24 range.
So one of them solid wide receiver 2s.
Yeah.
With some upside potentially.
Especially
but at least at the floor, like a flex guy.
Yeah,
you know.
the floor is a flat.
Like, you always joke around, but there is a scenario where you could get Tyler Lockett as your third wide receiver. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So it's like if he's your third wide receiver, you're gonna have three.
I just said it a second ago. I was like, you have 2 running backs, 2 receivers. You get Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could have him, you know what I'm saying,
thought
as
he
your
was gonna
third
be
wide
like-
receiver or your flex guy. I think you'll be pretty psyched with that because, like you said, you could have a top 25 guy
Yeah.
at a receiver who's your flex guy.
And there's players where like I feel like his name isn't. I like
It's
last
not
year.
sexy.
Yeah, I paid attention last year to a lot of these players and see where they fell. It could change this year, but he has that name where it's just like DK Metcalf is a sexy name
like
because he's
Robert-
the fucking
he's-
0.5% body fat, fucking Hulk looking.
Dog,
It's like,
and his dad was in
he's
the
gonna be the
NFL.
monster, and Tyler
His-
Lockett could drop to. I mean, I'd hate to say it, but I could see a 5th, 6th.
Well, I mean, we've seen guys like Odell and some of these mocks have been doing Odell, Juju, like Landry, like those guys have been going like in the 5th round. Even like, you know, I really touches like you get to like the 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. Like there's a lot of really good receivers that are still in that area. So I think Lockett could fall to like, you know, the 6th, 7th round potentially in some leagues. So, and I think if you're gonna get him in like the 6th, 7th round, I think that's a steal.
That's horny.
He
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say his name. He has like a similar namesake as like Robert Woods or
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like they're kind of like all in the same category, but kind of under the radar, slept on.
And his dad's in the NFL, so you know he's shown him the offseason shit. He's
Like
like,
if-
I don't know if you can get any bigger than him. Motherfucker's huge.
If his name was Tyler Rocket, dude, he'd be like
because that dude
4th
is
round pick.
jacked.
Man, that clip was informative, huh? Well, there's plenty more right here if you click that. Also, go ahead and subscribe right there.